So I'm gonna have to get her on the speed button. Call the meeting to order and roll call. Members of council present, but Councilor Tonio, who is on personal leave, won't be with us this evening. We've already done the land acknowledgement at the previous meeting, so we'll dispense with it. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest on the agenda is presented to you. Hearing none, duly noted. Introduction to this meeting is the purpose to hear public comment on, and consider a proposed new building bylaw and permit fees pursuant to the provisions of the Ontario Building Code. So I would assume Mr. Hillman and Mr. Valor, you're going to bring us to date on the new proposal.
Mr. Mayor, good evening. Good evening, council. So there's a report on the agenda. The report had been presented to council at a prior meeting. So we'll do a very high level review. The intent of the meeting this evening is to meet the requirements of the Ontario Building Code, which establishes that prior to any increase in your building fees, permit fees, an opportunity has to be made available for people from the public to review it and provide comments to council. And therefore notice has to be given in accordance with the act and so on. So that was undertaken by the town administration, and this date was scheduled. And really the purpose of this is of this bylaw is to now continue the implementation of the operational review for the building services area that council had approved ultimately through the budget approval in 2023 budget. And the operational review had three basic tenets to it. One is to, based on the forecast development and to increase the service delivery, it was to increase some staff, which is underway. It is to modernize the department through cloud permitting, which is underway. And it was to bring forward an update to the building bylaw, as it's called, to reflect current standards and processing of applications, and to create some streamlining, but also to bring the fees into accordance with what had been recommended through the operational review. So that's the purpose of this evening's meeting, Mr. Mayor. We had reviewed this report in some more detail at our prior meeting. So with that, I think we would just open the floor if there's questions, and it would appear no one had registered for the meeting that we were aware of or is attending.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? Yeah, it hasn't been strange to us in terms of, as you quite correctly alluded to, that we talked about this during the 23 budget deliberations. Doesn't look like we have any questions at this stage here, so it's a matter of the public meeting right now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to Brian. I'm just wondering, we're increasing these today, and they were set back, I believe, in 2016, 2017. But I'm just wondering if we put these into place today, when is moving forward? When would we review these again? Because I looked at the projected fees increase table, which I think is on page 10. And it says 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I'm just wondering when we look at this, because we want the department to be self-sufficient, right, with funding. So I'm just wondering now when the next potential, increase or review will be, just to ensure that the department is being kept whole with these fees that we're proposing.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll give a quick little answer at the beginning, and Peter might want to add to it. So this will be monitored throughout the year, actually. So a full review probably won't happen for another 5 years or so. We'll monitor things, but we would certainly anticipate and recommend that we come back with construction price index increases as a routine part. And I'll let Peter speak to that because that's sort of been his experience. You'll see the town had not undertaken that approach And part of the thinking when we didn't do that for the last 5 years was development was, there was a struggle and to maintain some competitiveness, it was felt we'll just maintain them. But I think as we go forward, we'll see that changing significantly, and we'll want to keep the department properly funded. And doing that is through probably cost of living increases or construction price index.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Just to reiterate what Brian had just said, it's important that we stay on top of these fees yearly. Our costs increase yearly. So we just having the COLA increases is the most sensible way. Most municipalities are going that avenue. This is a significant one. I think it's maybe a period of 5 years have gone by since any of those increases were considered. It's important that we stay on top of it to always keep the, we try to operate at a net zero. We're not out to make money, we're out to balance and reduce the cost and the burden to the municipality by self-funding.
Any further questions or comments? If not, then we'll await the preparation of the bylaw. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Houston, Councillor Dorner, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. This